You're watching Adam Goldstein TV. Adam Goldstein Comedy, Boston. Hi, I'm Adam Goldstein, and you're watching The Adam Goldstein Show on Adam Goldstein TV. We have a great show for you today. There's a lot of things to talk about. First thing I want to talk about is the Covington students and how this was covered in the media. I honestly think this was covered terribly. And at first, I thought probably the same thing everybody else thought. I thought these kids, they looked like a bunch of jerks, like they were sitting there taunting or insinuating the people who were there. That Nathan Phillips guy, who was the Native American gentleman, I guess he's a Native American activist, and the media really was very sympathetic to this guy and really made the kids out to be like they were Nazi, like they were some kind of a Nazi group or something, or if they were some kind of a far right-wing alt-right group, and it turns out they were just a group of maybe like 16, 17-year-old kids. They were kids from high school. And later on, there was actually some footage that was revealed that showed a completely different context where the kids had actually been taunted by I think it was a group of black Israelites, which this was a group I didn't even know existed. It's like ethno-religious group, but they're also an activist group. They're very politically active. And they were shouting a lot of slurs and a lot of racial epithets at the kids, and it turns out the kids throughout the entire exchange, they just pretty much sat there. And while, if you see a quick clip of it, you might think that they were kind of jerks. Honestly, they were just pretty much sitting there and being pretty restrained. Nobody got assaulted, nobody got hurt. If you could see the video here, you can see that, these activists, the Native American activists and the black Israelites are pretty much instigating. It looks like they're walking over towards not the college, but the high school students. And it looks almost like they're looking for a fight. Honestly, I don't think this is really cool. And upon further investigation, it seems like Nathan Phillips has kind of a little bit of a colorful past with some arrest records, with some, I think it's some disorderly conduct and maybe some drunken violence kind of stuff, but nothing super major. But, just kind of goes to show you that the media, I think, really likes to react knee-jerk wise, and it seems like they like to get the public up into this kind of frenzy.
Do you owe anybody an apology? Do you see your own fault? Do you think if you weren't wearing that hat, this might not have happened, or it might have been different? There's something aggressive about standing there, standing your ground.
Yeah, there's something aggressive about standing there.
Somebody that I really liked, actually, Ed Helms, the actor from The Office, he was in the Hangover movies as well, and he's someone who I really like, and he actually posted a picture of the students and said, oh, look at these kids, they think they're genetically superior. It was one of those things that kind of insinuated, like, look at these Nazi jerks. And it turns out they really weren't, and I think that it's important in the future. I think the media should maybe get it right before they rush to report these kind of stories and sensationalize them. I'm glad that at least the kid got the chance to tell his side of the story, and as you can see here, it really was not his intention to say or do anything racist, and it seems like he actually was, in his mind, for what it's worth, he's saying that he was trying to be pretty respectful. So, I don't know, in the future, I'd say, come on, lay off the kids and just, stop trying to sensationalize and politicize every single thing and turn it into a big, huge, story, because that's kind of what the news, what the mainstream media has sort of become nowadays, and I think it's turned a lot of people off. I think it's really, really rubbed people the wrong way. Another thing that's really interesting was the BuzzFeed story about Trump, and it's interesting how CNN, blew this up and definitely got all caught up in the BuzzFeed story, and it really hurts CNN's credibility, and honestly, the minute I heard BuzzFeed, I heard the mainstream media was going with a BuzzFeed source, I just knew it was bullshit, immediately, because I know what BuzzFeed is very well, and maybe they're competitive in terms of being top 10 list makers of the internet, but if that's a sign of where journalism is headed, pretty sad commentary of where things are headed. So what do they say? Believe none of what you hear and half of what you see. And so, yeah, definitely be careful when you just listen to these media narratives, because a lot of them have been wrong lately. That really makes them look bad. That reflects very poorly on the mainstream media, in my opinion. And another thing, it's so silly how, like, big tech has really just censored people on the basis of things like, you know, posting NPC memes, which I have to say I received a permanent ban from Twitter for. And I think this is so stupid. I mean, you don't have to like the NPC meme. You might think it's kind of immature, but it was a joke. It was basically, the implication is that people just basically repost stories on social media without really reading into them, and they kind of buy into these ridiculous media narratives. People who digest the narratives from mainstream media are kind of the subject of this meme, as you can see here.
Breaking news. Orange man bad.
Orange man bad.
Orange man.
Orange man.
Orange man.
Orange man bad. Diversity is our strength. Gender is a social construct. White people must be abolished. Real communism hasn't been tried yet. It will not divide us. This meme is dehumanizing.
Why?
So honestly, I really don't see what the big deal is. Honestly, I found this meme to be hilarious, and I thought that it was very on point, as it really made an interesting and kind of thoughtful point on the commentary. The commentary being about, like, how social media really affects the way people do perceive things, and how big tech and, like, the mainstream media has really not done its responsibility in trying to report objectively. They basically want to manipulate the public to perceive things one way or the other. So I don't know if anybody got a chance to check out, but I actually had a great success with a recent video that I made about cannabis purchasing in Massachusetts for recreational use. So I chose to focus on an alternative therapies group in Salem and Verilife dispensaries in Wareham. And I normally wouldn't have gone down to Wareham, but my buddy Joe actually wanted to take a ride down there. So I'm really glad, because my video did very well. I got almost 400 views in the first week, and I got a lot of engagement, a lot of compliments on that video. And it kind of reminded me that, like, sometimes it's important to think about your content that you're producing, because I know that a lot of my viewers appreciate that kind of video. I know that there's a lot of people who are curious about what the experience is and what they can sort of anticipate in terms of their experience when they go to a dispensary. So I really don't want people to feel like I did when you're going into that sort of situation blindly and you really don't know what to expect. So I hope that video was helpful to people. I definitely enjoyed making it. And it was one of my most successful videos, but it was one of the ones that I'm the most proud of. Alternative therapies group, it's important to note, may have lines even with an appointment. I made an appointment last week and ended up waiting for about an hour in line. I have to say though, they had Gorilla Glue, which was excellent. So ATG, also the people there are insanely nice. The guy who's the security guard outside, I don't know what his name is, I forget his name, he did a great job. The girl who takes your ID when you first get in and she checks you in with the red hair, she was really great. I want to say thank you very much. I'm sorry to forget your name, but thank you so much for watching my video and for your kind words. I really appreciate it. And I don't know if you guys have been watching the news lately, but pretty soon Massachusetts is going to be one step closer to opening cannabis cafes.
Massachusetts is one step closer to opening cannabis cafes.
See? I think this is something that's going to be really awesome. It'll be really interesting, and hopefully they are better with the rollout of this than they were for the rollout of recreational and even medical. I also want to say, I don't know if anybody's checked out my last episode of the Adam Goldstein Show, which was filmed live, well, not live, but it was filmed on location at Foxwoods Resort Casino with my very good friend Isaac Jordan, who was actually my very first guest. So I want to say very, very special thank you to Isaac Jordan, who did he did a great job. And, hopefully I'd like to book him again sometime soon, because he was a great guest. Hopefully he'll be available. I know that he's got a lot of projects that he's involved in right now. But, we're going to try to get him in the future. Hopefully he'll be back. For anybody who noticed, I actually had a confrontation with an Ecolab driver last week, and it was pretty scary, but in the end it ended up working out, and it was just weird. It was like he thought that I had not signaled or something like that, so I stopped. The guy gets out of his car and he comes over and he yells at me and he starts this big confrontation, and I just tell him to shut up and get out of my way. And you can actually see, if you can see here, the guy kind of backs up as soon as he sees that I start filming, and the only reason I started filming was just because I really didn't know what this guy was liable to do. It was really an awkward, really kind of an aggressive situation to be in, but I thought I handled it about as good as I could have. So the interesting follow-up to that is I actually got a call from his manager at Ecolab, and they were all apologetic. They said, "Mr. Goldstein, we're so sorry." And I told them, you know, no big deal. I don't want to see the guy lose his job, but in the future, you know, people like that, they need to just take it easy. And if you're going to confront somebody, you know, say your piece and move on. Don't sit there for like 2 minutes and block traffic and do whatever. So, you know, it wasn't the end of the world, but just for anybody who's curious, a little context for that. That was kind of an uncomfortable situation for me, and I decided to kind of turn it into an upload. So I know that might be a controversial kind of a video, but yeah, you know, it is what it is. So just thought I'd give a little update for that. Just, you know, driving in Boston is always going to be very stressful, and in and of itself, it's definitely not a normal, like, I think it's so unusual, the situation where you're in a car and you have something you have to communicate to someone, and the only thing you have is a horn. So it's like, it's just weird that you're always going to hear beep and think that it's like hostile, you know, because it's just weird. That's the only thing you can say to somebody in a car is beep, and they need to make new horns that say things like, you know, fuck you, or maybe one that says, like, you know, oh, sorry, or, you know, hey, get out of my way, or like, you're about to hit me, you know, something that can communicate a little more effectively. And just think about what it would be like you, if you have a relationship, right, if you're married, would you ever walk up to your wife or your husband, your significant other, would you ever walk up to them and go, honey, you know, I'm worried about something, you know, there's something that's been really bothering me, can I talk to you about it, I'm just really, and then you go into your thing and you just walk up to them and go, beep, you know, I mean, think about it, you know, it's just stupid to think that, that the system that we have, that we use in cars to communicate, it's very outdated. We need we need technology to bring beeps. We need technology to bring the car horn and car communications into the 21st century or 22nd, whatever century it is, I don't care. Just bring it into the future. So I'd like to give a little update on my move to Nevada, which is definitely happening in June at the very latest. So I'm going to be taking this show on the road, and I'm going to be doing a road trip out to Nevada as I move out there, but I've been doing a lot of research. I'm actually thinking about maybe taking some jobs with airlines so that I'll be able to fly back whenever I want to Boston to see my family, and I'll also be able to see the country, which is something that I'm really looking forward to doing this when I drive out. But I think it would be really great if I were able to fly and plan vacations and do all sorts of things like that. I also am looking at apartments out there, and I can't believe like the difference in cost compared to Boston as far as like apartments and availability. The only difference is like it seems like it's a little tough to do research in a place where, like, it's Las Vegas is a city I have no clue about. So I'm thinking about maybe taking one trip out there so that I can just check out some apartments for myself, and I think it would be better to move into a place with a little knowledge instead of just sight unseen. So that would be really great. So wish me luck and keep an eye out on this channel, because there are going to be a lot of great updates about that move, and you're going to actually see me driving out to Nevada and going through all these states I've never been to, and it's going to be really cool. I'm going to make some great travel vlogs. I'm going to make some really great adventure vlogs out of those. I'm Adam Goldstein, and you're watching The Adam Goldstein Show. Until next time, beep! So hey guys, thanks for watching today's episode, and if you like today's episode on the channel, hit like and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you'll get updates whenever new content is posted. I'm Adam Goldstein for Adam Goldstein TV, and you're watching The Adam Goldstein Show. What's up, everybody?
Cannabis cafes. Something aggressive about standing there. Standing your ground.